Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We sift through the noise articles, research notes to give you the core insights you need. Today, we're digging into the B2B world, business-to-business commerce. It's changing fast, and we're putting a special lens on South Asia. So, okay, let's kick things off. Did you know the global B2B e-commerce market, it's valued at a massive USD 19.34 trillion this year. And get this, it's projected to shoot up to an astonishing USD 47.54 trillion by 2030. That's a compound annual growth rate over 16%. Just huge.
Yeah, it's huge. But what's really fascinating, I think, isn't just the size of the numbers, it's what they signal. This massive growth, it points to a really fundamental shift in how B2B companies operate. We're moving away from just being, lead-centric, chasing individual leads, to becoming truly data-driven and, importantly, account-based. It's about how businesses connect with other businesses. And for you, understanding this shift is, well, it's key to grasping where the whole global economy is heading.
That's a really important distinction. So if we're moving beyond just generating leads in the old way, what's actually replacing it? What does modern B2B growth look like?
Well, what's stepping in is this paradigm called account-based marketing. ABM. Think of it less like just another tactic and more like a whole strategic approach. It's deeply buyer-centric.
Yeah.
And that's critical because, let's face it, B2B buyers today are way more independent, digitally savvy.
Doing their own homework.
Exactly. And ABM directly tackles this thing called account blindness, basically, not having a clear, unified view of the companies you're targeting. ABM is all about precision.
Okay, precision. So our sources lay out 5 key steps to make this modern B2B growth happen. Let's walk through them. First up, account intelligence. What's that involve?
Right, account intelligence. This is all about getting complete visibility into those target companies. No blind spots. It means pulling together all your data from your CRM system, your marketing automation, intent signals, web analytics.
All of it.
All of it. To get that 360-degree view, that's how you kill account blindness.
Makes sense. So you've got the intel. Step 2 is account prioritization. How do you choose where to focus?
Yeah, good question. You need to pick the accounts that have the highest potential for revenue. A pretty common framework people use is FIRE. That stands for fit, intent, recency, and engagement. It helps you put your resources, your time and money where they'll make the biggest impact, strategically.
FIRE. Okay. And once you've picked those high priority accounts, step 3 is personalized engagement. What does that look like day to day?
This is where you really tailor the experience across different channels. So maybe targeted ads or specific content that speaks directly to their needs, maybe even personalized chat on your website. The key thing is these experiences adapt as the buyer moves through their journey. And it needs to be coordinated, across marketing, sales, even customer success.
That sounds like it needs serious teamwork, which leads right into step 4, sales and marketing alignment. Why is that suddenly so critical?
Oh, it's absolutely vital. Always has been, maybe, but critical now. It means both teams are looking at the same data, targeting the same accounts, working towards shared goals, like marketing qualified accounts, not just leads. So an account showing enough interest that sales should step in. Getting aligned like this just cuts out so much friction. It speeds everything up, helps close deals faster.
Less drop batons.
Exactly. And then the 5th step, account progress measurement. How's that different from just counting leads or clicks? It's a shift in focus. Instead of just tracking those little individual interactions, you measure the progress of the whole account. You're looking at overall engagement levels, the impact on your sales pipeline, and ultimately the revenue coming from that specific account relationship. It's a bigger picture view.
That's a really clear framework. So what's the payoff? Why should a business go through all this? Is there a proven benefit?
Oh, definitely. The benefits are really tangible. The data shows ABM delivers, on average, something like 87% higher ROI. Yeah, and 84% higher close rates. Plus, the deals tend to be bigger, 171% larger deal sizes. The real insight, I think, is that buyers are educating themselves now. So precision and deep engagement, they aren't optional anymore. It's the only way to land those high-value deals. But, and this is a big but, when you look at South Asia, that account blindness problem, it's often a much bigger hurdle.
Why is that?
Because digital adoption is often still, nascent, just starting out in many areas. Take Bangladesh, for example. Very low cloud usage. That means businesses there often have to invest in just the basic data infrastructure first before they can even think about doing sophisticated ABM. It's step 0 almost.
That's a really crucial point. Foundational steps first. Okay, speaking of digital, this is where it gets really interesting, right? AI, automation, omnichannel experiences, how are they shaking up the B2B world?
Yeah, digital transformation is fundamentally rewriting the B2B playbook. Interactions are moving online, they're much more dynamic. And artificial intelligence, AI, including things like large language models, LLMs, it's absolutely central to this. AI helps make sense of huge amounts of data, it makes those repetitive tasks, and it really boosts efficiency and accuracy. And it's not just the back end stuff. Video marketing, for instance, has become huge for creating engaging, tailored content that B2B buyers actually want to watch.
That digital shift sounds enormous, and our sources back that up. They projected by 2025, so really soon, 80% of B2B sales interactions will be digital. And get this, 73% of buyers actually expect engagement across multiple channels, and a massive 86% prefer self-service digital options. The takeaway seems pretty clear. Digital isn't just nice to have, it's the baseline expectation now.
Exactly. And what's really interesting in South Asia is how AI can act as a kind of transformative equalizer. It allows businesses there to leapfrog some older stages of development, moving beyond just simple efficiency gains. Think about automating really clunky paper-based processes, say, in Myanmar, big jump. And given the incredibly high mobile connectivity, oft over 100% penetration in most South Asian countries,
Higher than landlines, right?
way higher in many places. So a mobile-first omnichannel approach isn't just advisable, it's pretty much essential. You look at Bangladesh, 80% of e-commerce volume is mobile. Myanmar, 67.5%. Nearly 68% of web traffic is mobile. You have to optimize for mobile. It meets buyers where they are, and it cleverly gets around limitations in fixed internet infrastructure. It's pragmatic.
Okay, so we've got this incredible transformation happening powered by digital and AI. But how do businesses actually know if it's working? What about the ROI, the return on investment?
Right. Measuring ROI is crucial. It's not just about spending money on tech. The basic formula is pretty simple. Revenue minus investment, divide that by the investment times 100. But to do that properly, you need smart objectives first. Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound goals. And then you need KPIs, key performance indicators, that track both leading indicators, things like sales-ready opportunities, stuff that predicts future success.
Like checking the fuel gauge before a trip.
Exactly. And lagging indicators like actual revenue attributed to marketing or customer lifetime value, CLV, that's looking back at the trip, how far you actually went. And the tracking needs to be robust. It has to integrate your digital channels, things like Google Analytics 4, GA4, or marketing platforms like HubSpot, but also any offline touchpoints. Your CRM absolutely has to be synced up with your marketing automation. For ABM specifically, the metrics really shift towards tracking account progression, engagement levels, journey stages. Just to give some ballpark figures, content marketing often aims for maybe a 5.1 ROI, social media ads, maybe 250% average, and email, still a workhorse, often yielding around $36 for every $1 spent.
Okay, that paints a clear picture globally. But what about South Asia? Our sources flag this challenge, the data ROI paradox. What does that mean for someone operating there?
Yeah, the data ROI paradox, it's a real issue. Because the digital infrastructure is often less developed, measuring ROI gets really tricky. I mean, even globally, something like 29% of companies say they lack the data to properly prove the ROI of their digital transformation efforts.
Nearly a third.
Exactly. And in South Asia, that challenge is often magnified. Take Bangladesh again, only about 7% cloud adoption among businesses. Only 34% of firms even have a website. If you don't have the basic digital footprint and the tools to track interactions properly, how can you robustly measure ROI? The foundational data just isn't there. So it really highlights this critical need you have to invest in that basic data infrastructure and digital literacy first. Otherwise, all these digital investments just look like costs, not revenue drivers.
That makes a lot of sense. Let's zoom in then. Let's take that deep dive into the South Asian B2B landscape specifically. What does the market size and growth picture actually look like across the region?
Okay. So globally, we said that huge number, 47.54 trillion USD by 2030 for B2B e-commerce. Asia Pacific holds a big chunk of that, around 31.4%. But within South Asia itself, there's a huge disparity and honestly, massive untapped potential. You've got India, which is already a B2B e-commerce giant. It's projected to hit something like 4,709 billion USD by 2030. That's that crazy 21.6% annual growth rate.
Powerhouse.
Definitely. But then you look at other nations in the region. Their overall e-commerce numbers, which often lump in B2C, business to consumer, are much smaller. For instance, Bangladesh's total e-commerce is around $9 billion this year. Myanmar, just 1.36 million. Nepal, 888 million. Bhutan's overall B2B market is estimated at 0.72 billion USD. Sri Lanka's e-commerce, about 2.6 billion USD. What these smaller numbers tell you isn't necessarily weakness, it's opportunity. Huge greenfield opportunities for B2B digitalization. They're just starting that curve.
So massive potential, but very different starting points. What about the digital readiness, the infrastructure maturity across a diverse region? How prepared are they?
Yeah, it's really varied. That's the key takeaway. You can't treat South Asia as one monolithic block. On the one hand, you have incredibly high mobile connectivity almost everywhere. Bangladesh, 104%, Myanmar, 116%, Nepal, 152%, Bhutan, 100%, Sri Lanka, 127%. People have phones.
More phones than people in some cases.
Right. But then internet penetration, actually getting reliable access, varies wildly. Bangladesh is lower, around 39%, while Bhutan is up near 88%. And disruptions, outages, they're still pretty common in many places. And digital literacy is a major barrier, especially, say, for women entrepreneurs in Bangladesh or just generally in Bhutan, where it's around 49%. People might have the tech, but not the skills or confidence to use it effectively for business. Cloud adoption, as we mentioned, is low 7% in Bangladesh, 25% in Nepal. Sri Lanka's SMEs are slow to adopt. And a lot of firms, like 65% in Nepal, are struggling with just plain outdated IT infrastructure. Contrast that with India's 80% e-invoicing adoption. It's a real digital divide.
So what's the implication of that divide?
It means mobile-first solutions are absolutely essential. You work with what people have. And there needs to be serious investment in digital literacy training and just upgrading basic IT. You can't run advanced B2B platforms on ancient hardware or with staff who can't use them. Oh, and cybersecurity is a huge concern. Nepal's 50% data breach rate is frankly alarming. You need trust for B2B e-commerce.
Definitely. Okay, so within this varied landscape, which industries are really driving B2B activity, and where are the emerging sectors popping up?
It's a really interesting mix of the traditional and the new. In Bangladesh, the ready-made garment sector, RMG, is still huge, but they're actively diversifying. We're seeing real growth in tech and startups, particularly fintech, agritech, B2B SaaS, plus renewable energy and pharma healthcare. India, well, it's incredibly diverse. Manufacturing, IT, software, wholesale, financial services are big B2B players, but you're also seeing a boom in B2B marketplaces and lots of AI-powered tools emerging. In Myanmar, the telecom sector is a major B2B driver. Lots of activity around data services, IoT, the Internet of Things, helping other businesses digitize, cloud adoption for things like smart factories or smart agriculture. Nepal still relies heavily on traditional sectors like agriculture and construction, but there's a growing scene of B2B SaaS startups, digital marketing agencies, and some AI adoption happening. Bhutan has a growing industrial base, and digital marketing services seem to be an emerging B2B area there. Sri Lanka has its manufacturing core, but ICT, health and business process outsourcing, BPO, are significant and growing B2B sectors. The key insight here: this diversity means one-size-fits-all solutions just won't work. It creates huge opportunities for specialized providers, like vertical SaaS companies, who can solve the unique problems of specific industries in these countries.
That makes perfect sense. Okay, so bringing it all together, what does this mean for you, the listener, if you're trying to operate, invest, or just understand the space? Let's talk strategy. What are the key levers to really accelerate B2B growth here?
Absolutely. Let's break down some strategic levers highlighted in the sources. First, digital transformation and e-procurement. B2B marketplaces are a big deal. Think of India's Pepagora or IndiaMart. They streamline how businesses find suppliers and make payments. And they're helped massively by things like India's GST tax system and the e-way bill for transport, plus that high e-invoicing adoption. It creates a really efficient digital ecosystem.
And you mentioned Bangladesh's EGP system.
Yes, a fantastic example. Their electronic government procurement system didn't just go digital. It dramatically increased the number of bidders, drove down prices, generating significant discounts, 7 to 8%, and saved the government hundreds of millions. That's tangible impact. But there are challenges too, like market concentration in some marketplace sectors in Bangladesh, or the fact that cash on delivery is still king in Myanmar. It shows you need that last mile digitalization effort. That's why things like the UNCDF training 200,000 small businesses in Bangladesh on digital literacy are so crucial. You need to bring everyone along.
Right, empowering the users is key.
Yeah.
What about the second lever, the impact of artificial intelligence?
Yeah.
How is AI playing out specifically?
Well, AI is fundamentally changing how buyers research. Globally, 9 out of 10 B2B buyers are now using generative AI, like ChatGPT, to research vendors before they even make contact.
So they come in super informed.
Exactly. You need to be ready for that. In India, the adoption is high. Over 70% of startups use AI in some way. And the results are impressive. Sales teams using AI see revenue growth, more high-quality leads, increased productivity, lower cost per acquisition. The metrics are strong. Across South Asia, more broadly, AI is a driver of efficiency and competitiveness. We mentioned Bangladesh's BPO sector using AI to offer faster, cheaper services and grab market share. But the crucial point, and the sources really emphasize this, is that AI must augment human capabilities, not just replace them. The focus has to be on upskilling your people and using AI ethically. Because, let's be honest, overly impersonal AI outreach can destroy the trust that's so vital in B2B relationships.
That's a really important balance to strike.
Okay.
So you use digital tools, maybe AI, to connect. What about keeping those customers happy and growing the relationship? Let's discuss sales enablement and customer success.
Yes, these are two sides of the same coin, really, for long-term growth. Sales enablement is all about equipping your sales team, giving them the right tools, the best content, the training they need to be effective, and aligning them tightly with marketing. The payoff is clear. 81% of companies report that good sales enablement increases the efficiency of their revenue teams. Then there's customer success. This isn't just support. It's about proactively ensuring your customers achieve the results they expected when they bought from you. This is absolutely vital for reducing churn, especially in SaaS or subscription businesses. Happy customers stick around, they buy more, they upgrade, and they refer you to others. That's how you get expansion revenue.
So it's not just about landing the initial deal.
Not at all. The real value is often in the long-term relationship, the customer lifetime value, CLV. And achieving that requires sales, marketing, and customer success to be working together seamlessly. That's why many companies are moving towards a unified revenue operations or RevOps approach, bringing all those functions together under one strategy, especially for recurring revenue models. You can't just set and forget a B2B customer. Proactive engagement, showing ongoing value, that's the key to retention.
That all sounds like a huge internal effort for businesses. But what about the external environment? What role do governments and trade policies play in all this?
They play a massive role. Government initiatives can be huge catalysts. Look at Digital Bangladesh, which is now evolving into Smart Bangladesh by 2041. They strategically allowed 100% foreign ownership in e-commerce to attract investment and expertise. India's got its Make in India, Digital India, Startup India campaigns, all creating an environment where B2B can thrive digitally. Myanmar recently introduced e-commerce guidelines. Nepal has a national strategy on e-commerce. Bhutan's investing heavily in infrastructure with its digital Drukgyal flagship program. Sri Lanka's ICT agency is pushing digital projects. Governments are definitely getting involved.
Okay, so national policies are one thing. What about the bigger picture?
Sure.
International trade, regulations, geopolitics.
Yeah, that's increasingly important too. Geopolitical tensions, shifting supply chains, tariffs. These are forcing B2B leaders to rethink their global strategies, maybe diversify where they source from or sell to. India, for example, is actively chasing free trade agreements, FTAs, aiming for a massive $2 trillion export target by 2030. That opens up huge international B2B opportunities. Bhutan joining the World Trade Organization, the WTO, that could slash their trade costs, especially if they embrace digital paperless trade, potentially by 286%.
Huge potential savings.
Massive. But again, the reality on the ground matters. You still have regional trade barriers, a lot of informal trading, those internet disruptions we talked about in Bangladesh, the outdated IT in Nepal. It shows that even the best policies need strong foundations to be truly effective. Trade policy today isn't just about tariffs anymore. It's increasingly about digital infrastructure, rules for data flows, e-commerce regulations. It's a much more complex game.
Okay, we've covered a ton of ground. The shifts, the tech, the regional specifics, the policies. Let's distill it down. What does this all mean for you, our listener? Whether you're in business, policy, or investing, what are the real actionable takeaways?
Right, let's break down the recommendations from the sources. For businesses operating in or entering South Asia, first, prioritize getting the foundations right. That means robust CRMs, maybe cloud-based solutions where feasible. Second, embrace mobile-first omnichannel. Meet customers on their phones, integrate video, use chat. That's where engagement happens. Third, adopt AI strategically. Use it for automation, for insights like predictive analytics, maybe fraud detection, but tailor it to local needs, like handling different languages. Fourth, invest in your people. Digital literacy and upskilling are absolutely non-negotiable. Fifth, adopt those account-based strategies we discussed. Focus on high-value relationships and align sales, marketing, and customer success. Maybe think about that RevOps approach. Also, leverage B2B e-procurement platforms where they exist. Explore cross-border e-commerce and diversify your trade partners to build resilience.
Okay, that's clear for businesses. What about policymakers and investors?
For them, the focus needs to be on enabling the ecosystem. Bridge that digital divide. That means sustained investment in reliable digital infrastructure, internet access, cloud capabilities. promote digital literacy aggressively across the board, strengthen cybersecurity frameworks and data governance that builds trust. Streamline e-procurement, yes, but focus on ensuring it's competitive and transparent. Work together regionally to harmonize digital trade policies. Make it easier for businesses to operate across borders within South Asia. And finally, actively support innovation ecosystems. Provide funding, incentives, and support for local startups developing B2B solutions.
And are there specific areas that look like particularly good investment opportunities?
The sources highlight a few promising segments. Vertical SaaS software tailored for specific industries like agritech, health tech, or education tech, addressing unique local pain points. Digital payment and fintech solutions, especially those serving the needs of SMEs who are often underserved by traditional banks. AI-driven BPO and IT services, leveraging the region's growing tech talent pool but enhancing it with AI for global competitiveness. Logistics and supply chain digitalization. There's huge room for improvement in efficiency there, both domestically and cross-border. And finally, capacity building and consulting services for SMBs. Helping smaller businesses navigate this whole digital transformation journey is a massive opportunity in itself.
So there you have it, a really comprehensive look. The South Asian B2B market is clearly at this fascinating inflection point. Immense potential, absolutely. Driven by accelerating digital transformation, even with those significant hurdles like infrastructure gaps and literacy challenges that we discussed. But the momentum seems undeniable. Digital adoption is growing, governments are getting involved, it really feels like fertile ground for innovation. But navigating it successfully, it clearly requires that strategic thinking and, importantly, collaboration between businesses, policymakers, and investors.
Absolutely. And, if we just step back and connect this to the really big picture, the future of B2B in South Asia is without a doubt digital. But realizing that immense potential, it's going to take more than just buying new technology. It demands that strategic, collaborative action we just talked about, building a truly interconnected digital ecosystem. It kind of leaves you with a thought, doesn't it? How might that collective, widespread investment in something as fundamental as digital literacy across an entire population, how could that fundamentally shift the economic trajectory of a whole region, unlocking potential and opportunities that maybe we can barely even imagine today?